back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I am joined by the beautiful Nassar sisters, Haley and Sydney. How you doing today, ladies?
Doing great. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I am doing very well. Thank you guys for coming on. For those of you that don't know, these ladies are very busy right now. They can be seen in the political satire, No Offense. Haley, the older one by 1 minute. She is the strong and snarky best friend, and Sydney gets caught in a casting couch situation. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm not going to tell you because that's not my place. But watch the show when it comes out, and you will see what that's all about. You can also catch them on the Hulu show Love Victor. That's out right now, correct?
Yes, right now.
Yeah.
It came out in June, mid-June or July.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can catch them there. Haley was in Babysitter 2, Killer Queen on Netflix. You can check that out right now. She was one of the bikini babes on the beach.
Babe.
One of the beach babes. So make sure you're checking that out. And now, just so you guys know, Sydney has already promised me that she's going to be this generation's Scream Queen. And I am excited to see these ladies take this generation by storm. Ladies, anything else you can tell me about what you got coming up here?
Yeah, so oh, you go.
No, it's okay. You go.
Okay. So right now I'm actually working on a mini series with a good friend of mine, Amber Pauline, who was a guest previously. And it's inspired by Mean Girls, but also kind of like a Heathers vibe, and then also like Scream Queens. So we already filmed part 1. And right now we're coming up with the rest of the ideas, and we're going to start filming some more pretty soon. So, and we hope to make it an Instagram mini series. So that's awesome.
I'm so excited for that. I told Amber I'll tell you the same thing. Any updates you have on that, any links you have for that, please give it to me. I'll post it here on YouTube as well as on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook page. So all of you guys can check that out. And just like always, guys, I have these beautiful women's, all their information down here in the description. So make sure you're following them on social media. That way you don't have to, I don't have to be your only source of updates. You can get all your updates right from them. What about you, Sydney? What do you have coming up here?
Well, I'm kind of hoping to get into that short with them. Like I've
you are
with it, and so we just have to coordinate and be able to film it all together. But I'm super excited about it. Haley's been telling me all about the concept, the idea behind it, and how much fun that they had filming part 1. So I'm looking forward to helping out with part 2. And right now I'm just kind of like hustling, like there's a lot of, self-tape auditions going on right now. It's been hard with COVID because for a while there was like nothing, just literally like everything stalled. So now that things are starting to like refilm, it's exciting. I'm just kind of like, I'm hustling, I'm grinding. I'm just trying to find work right now and get as many gigs as I possibly can. So yeah. And then I plan on being the next Jamie Lee Curtis.
I can see it. All I need is you in a closet right now, and it's set right there.
competition.
Oh, there you go. Sister rivalry. So
and then
we are here.
Haley, one more thing to add. Haley and I would also love to do like horror shorts about twins. We've had we've talked about a script for a long time now, and I think like we would love to start writing one kind of about like an evil twin and a good twin, and kind of playing around with that idea.
A plot.
So that's definitely something that we're.
No
spoiler. We play off
spoiler.
each other so much, so.
No spoiler here, but who would be the good twin?
We can't tell you.
I
tried.
told you.
I tried.
You think you would.
I would be so excited to see that. It would be so much fun to watch you guys. Because I can,
that would be
just from what I know of you guys through texting and through doing this, the way that you guys could bounce off each other, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think it'd be a whole lot of fun to watch you guys do that on screen together the whole time. Even if it's just shorts or a short mini series, just watching you guys bounce off each other would be so incredible to watch.
Yeah.
That
would
we
be
love
the
working
dream.
together.
We do. We're super close, so that would be an amazing experience to do.
Absolutely. And what's cool about this is I have twin sisters, and their first horror movie is the same horror movie. So the way I'm going to run this, I'm going to bounce a question off each one of you. But first, we got to find out what it was. Your guys' first horror movie was?
Chucky.
Chucky.
And it was
Chucky.
Child's Play 3, right? Or was it the first one?
It was the first one. Yeah,
It was?
I think so. Wait, what's the one? I was so traumatized by it. You think I'd remember? But
I know. I still am traumatized by it too.
it was.
There's
I
a
remember
scene where
what,
someone
5 or 6.
we
There
were
was what?
small. Okay, sorry, we're just like overlapping each other. We were pretty young. I would say we were like 6 or 7. I'm not positive. But my dad was like flipping through channels and he stopped on Chucky. And I was like, what is this? And he was like, don't look. But like, he didn't make us leave the room or anything. And my mom wasn't in there, so we got away with being able to watch it. And all of a sudden, there's like a scene in Chucky where this old man, I think it was like an older man, he like bends down to get something or to look under his bed or whatever. And like Chucky comes out with a knife and just starts like
That's the back
stabbing
of his ankle.
him. Yeah, and it was, I don't know. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I remember me and her were just like traumatized by it.
We were so traumatized that we were like hiding under the couch. Like we were crying, probably screaming. My mom comes into the room and she's like, what's wrong? And she sees what's on the TV and she's like yelling, turn it off. And we were just terrified. I don't even think I went to bed for like a week. I don't think I was able to sleep. So
That is awesome.
The funny thing about that is I ended up loving that feeling of being like undeniably scared. Like I know some people try to avoid being scared, but I love it. Like I voluntarily will go into like a haunted house. You know, I'll do anything to feel like that rush. It's exciting. So
love that feeling.
It traumatized us, but like it didn't stop us from loving horror movies.
Well, it kind of started like our obsession with horror. Like I think literally after I got over that initial fear, I think after that, that's when my like love for horror movies began. And I was like, okay, I got through that. I can keep doing it. And so now the only kinds of movies that I love to watch and could just rewatch over and over again are horror films, especially Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's my favorite.
Yeah. And it's funny because one thing I like to do, that's why I like to talk about the first horror movie, because I liken horror movies to drugs. Not in a negative way, but you watch that first one and you get that first feeling of anxiety and that first adrenaline rush. And then you're always chasing that dragon. You want that feeling again and again and again. And it's such a great, phenomenal feeling. Even now, when you watch that horror movie that just scares the hell out of you. Like when I watched the first Conjuring movie, that's the last movie I watched that really scared me. And
those movies,
those movies are terrifying. And I love that feeling of being terrified by a movie. And it's something that, to me, horror it's so special of a genre. Again, everybody that's watched these episodes, I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but you don't get rom-com con. You know, you get horror con. Like that's what we do, the horror conventions. And, you know, I don't see anybody cosplaying Ryan Gosling from The Notebook. You know,
no.
No matter how sexy he may be and how many hall passes he may have with my wife, I don't see anybody cosplaying him. But, you know, you see the cosplays of our horror icons. And to me, that's what makes horror so special. And the community is so warm and kind. You know, you guys are in that, you know, and I get to talk to you guys about horror and see how excited you guys get about it. So this really, really means a lot to me to be able to talk to you guys about this. So I'm going to bounce some questions off each one of you real quick. Let's start with you, Haley. When we're talking about Child's Play, when you think of Child's Play, what's the first thing that pops into your brain?
First thing I would say, honestly, every time I think of it, the first thought I have is hiding under that couch, being terrified. And then I start to laugh because I've obviously since then rewatched it, and I'm older now, much older. So I rewatch it now and I'm like, what was I afraid of? But I mean, when you're a kid, obviously that can be scary, but I just think of that initial fear. I always think of that memory when I have Chucky on.
I right now am having that. I just imagine you as you right now hiding under a couch, like with your eyes poking out.
I do that sometimes, but I secretly love the feeling.
Right. So, Sydney, let's go to you. I
Okay.
hate saying favorite because that's such a dark way of putting it, but which kill from Child's Play stuck with you the most?
Oh gosh. I don't think I have a specific one. Huh. Is Child's Play, that was the very first one, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So actually, that's wrong. The one that sticks out for me the most is, I think it's the scene where Chucky is at the apartment with the little boy and the babysitter, and the babysitter like realizes that Chucky's like real, and that it's like she's not imagining things, and then he like she gets pushed out the window. That's one of those scenes where I'm just like, I don't know why. Like, I rewatched it last Halloween, and it actually scared me. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? But like, it really did scare me, because when you think about it, even though yes, he's a doll, it's kind of stupid, but like, I think they did it really well. They just really did make people scared. And that scene, for some reason, that was a good scene.
And I'm with you. To be honest with you, Chucky, I have the 7-movie collection here. Chucky is something that I think, and I never bash art. It's something I don't do. But Seed of Chucky is not for me. I'll never call anything terrible or awful, because if you're an artist and you're making art, good for you. I'm happy for you. But if it wasn't for Seed of Chucky, the Child's Play franchise would be my favorite horror franchise out there. Scream is my favorite, but I love Scream.
Mine too.
Yep. The whole franchise. My favorite horror movie is House from 1986. But when it comes to a franchise, Scream takes the cake.
All the way.
The Halloween is mine.
Did you hear about Scream? They all signed on to do a 5th one. Yep. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for that. But I'm like the biggest Halloween fan ever. John Carpenter has a special place in like my heart. And I understand why, because of COVID, but I am so upset because, you know, the newest movie was supposed to come out this Halloween, and now they had to delay it a year. So it's really sad for me, but I love those movies. Those movies are so the epitome of horror to me.
Well, and Jamie Lee Curtis, she's a queen. So
she's a queen.
And I'm in the minority here. And look, I like Halloween. I do. I like Michael Myers. However, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is my favorite out of all of them. I adore Season of the Witch. I love it so much. I think, you know, that Silver Shamrock song is one of the catchiest things in the world. I think the idea of having the kids put on masks and then watching the TV and it frying their brains and turning them into I think it's terrifying. I think if Season of the Witch would have just been called Season of the Witch, not Halloween 3, because John Carpenter, when he wrote Halloween, it was supposed to be an anthology, and every Halloween movie was going to be a different movie. And Michael Myers ended up getting 1 and 2. Then when they brought in 3, no matter what they would have done, it was destined to fail, because Michael Myers is such an iconic. The Shape. I mean, he's iconic. Michael Myers is so iconic. People know his theme song, even if they've never seen the movie. So I get that, but I think Season of the Witch is just the perfect. I adore that movie so much. And my second favorite is H2O.
I was just going to say, I love H2O. It's not my favorite, but I think that's one of the most entertaining ones out of the franchise. It's so fun to watch, and it's good. It's really good.
One funny thing to watch, check this out the next time you watch H2O, and this is just kind of me being in my own trippy world. In H2O, they are watching Scream 2. Now, in Scream 1, Jamie Kennedy is watching Halloween 1.
Yeah.
So for them to be playing in each other's universe, if they would have been watching Scream 1, if they'd have been watching Scream 1, they would have seen Jamie Kennedy watching his mom in Halloween. So it's just funny to me to think about that circle of events right there.
Yeah, because
I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, I never knew that in Halloween. In that one, they played Scream, but I knew in Scream they played Halloween. So yeah, I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah, and here's something else funny. If you guys watch Scream again, this is something, again, just where my brain, I think this is this is the genius of Wes Craven. When Randy, Jamie Kennedy, is watching Halloween, he's like, Jamie, talking to Jamie Lee Curtis. He's like, Jamie, look behind you, Jamie. Jamie. And then the bad guy's behind him. So he's talking to himself, essentially. Look behind you, Jamie. Jamie, there's someone behind you. And that to me is just so funny. Like he's calling himself out, essentially.
I love him. Randy, I thought, was one of the best characters in that.
I just
Absolutely.
think Wes Craven's a genius for tying that into it. So
love Wes Craven.
I cried when Wes Craven passed. That was just that dude morphed my childhood. I mean, like him and John Carpenter, like you said, like those two together completely. John Carpenter, Christine, Halloween, The Thing. I mean, these movies that just totally I'm in love with. And then same thing with Wes Craven. You know, like I said, I'll send you guys this link. I want you to see. Look at the movies that came out the year before and the year Scream came out, the horror movies. And then look at the movies that came out the year after and 2 years after, and you'll see how Scream completely rejuvenated the horror genre. Scream, like, took a shot in the arm to the horror genre and totally, I mean, before you had, like, the year before you had The Dentist, Texas Chainsaw 3, like, all these species, like, all these flop movies, and then Scream comes, and out comes Halloween H2O, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend.
I love
all these fantastic teen slashers that are so iconic, especially I think I'm older than you guys, but all these iconic slashers that we grew up with. I remember we went and seen Scream in the theater like 5 times. Like I couldn't get enough of it. It blew my mind to see Drew Barrymore get gutted at the beginning of the movie.
Oh my God,
like,
that is the greatest scene of the whole movie. The whole movie.
It's so funny. I can tell you guys are twins. You guys are just so in sync right now with what you're saying. It's so awesome.
And then the scene where it's revealed that Billy is, the second murderer, and like Sydney had just, slept with him.
Broke my heart.
They had like this special moment with each other, and then for her to like find out that this person that she trusts, because Sydney, let's face it, she's had a lot of like bad shit happen to her.
Oh.
That's such a good scene. That's so good.
And it also plays on that horror trope. Once you lose your virginity, you're fucked. Like, I hate to say it like that, but I mean, like, no pun intended. But once you lose your virginity, that's a wrap. So she loses her virginity, and then she finds out, pig's blood.
Well, you see, like, in Halloween. Like, in Halloween, I hate to, like, call her up, but, like, the slutty friend gets murdered first, and then Annie gets murdered. And I know that, like, I don't know if that was his idea behind it, like save the virgin, but that's kind of what it's like in horror movies. It's like you save the pure girl who's, innocent and sweet, and they just kind of played off of that in other movies.
Well, all these horror slashers are the biggest cock blocks in the world, man.
Yes.
You always got people dying right during, after. Like, you guys are dicks, man. That's incredible. Did you
watch the scary movie where they made fun of Scream?
Oh,
and, like,
I absolutely adore scary movies.
Okay. I love how like they made jokes about like, oh, if you have sex, you're gonna like. I just love how they made a comedy about it. It really is
really funny. Did you guys watch Boy Meets World when it was out?
Yes, every episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember the one where they were making fun of Scream and they were like, Sean was like, virgins never die.
Yeah.
And then Eric and Jack were like, I'm dead.
That Corey and Topanga were like, oh, we're safe.
The Halloween episode they did, that freaked me out. And I was like,
yes,
this is Boy Meets World. It's freaking me out. Like they did such a good job with that.
I don't know. Yes. I feel like they were also trying to send out a message to their young followers, like, whatever you do, don't have sex because you're going to die. I don't know.
Be like Corey and Topanga, not Jack and Eric.
Be pure.
So, back to Child's Play. I'm sorry I'm getting so off topic. I'm having so much fun. Haley had the last question. So, Sydney, Child's Play, is this something that you would watch over and over, or did it traumatize you at that point so much that you didn't want to watch it again?
I did not watch Chucky for the longest time, and it was because of that. And then I don't like dolls. I have a weird thing with dolls. So like, he's such an ugly little doll, and he's like freaky looking. And so I just did not choose to watch anymore, but I can't even tell you why that has stuck with me over all these years. But that scene when I like snuck in and I should have not have been watching it. My dad should not have allowed us to watch it, but he was like, whatever, has stuck with me for so long that when I watch it now, I can like bring myself back to that day.
Yeah.
And like, I can remember how I felt. It's so crazy.
Love that.
It's so crazy. It's really crazy.
And that's what I love about this. Even when you watch it again now, like you remember the smells, the way you felt, like it takes you back to being a kid again.
Mm-hmm. And It is another movie like that for me as well. I hate clowns because of the movie It. We're both terrified. Well, I don't know, I'm speaking for myself, Haley, but I never had an opinion on clowns before that. Like I really just didn't think much about them. And then when I saw the original It for the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is like a demon. It's like a monster. It's killing people. I thought clowns are supposed to be, happy, and they are at fairs and give you balloons and like, I don't know. So now I like just envision the version of It from the movies, and it's terrifying to me.
I have never ever liked clowns. And I remember one year for Halloween, my mom made me dress up as a clown, and I was miserable. And I was there's probably a picture of me somewhere crying in that costume. I don't like clowns. That movie traumatized me.
Yeah. I do got to add, this is super, super important.
What?
If you find a copy of that picture, you need to text it to me. Because I need to see that. Okay, one thing I do want to add, and on a serious note, when we're talking about It real quick, before we get back to Child's Play, in It, the remake, I love it. I really, really do. However, in the original miniseries one with Tim Curry, I think that It the Clown is so much scarier because he doesn't look evil. He doesn't look scary. He looks like a playful, fun clown that you would want to play with. The new one, Bill Skarsgård, is amazing. He is absolutely brilliant. But the clown looks scary. And me as a little kid, I wouldn't have, even if I didn't have a phobia of clowns, I wouldn't approach him because he would scare the shit out of me just by looks. But Tim Curry's looked fun. He looked like a fun, happy, playful clown, but he's a monster.
Yeah.
And I think that really reminded me of John Wayne Gacy, because John Wayne Gacy is where the inspiration for It came.
Yep.
And that guy was he was a community man. He was loved by the community. He didn't look evil. He was just a guy that dressed up like a clown, but he's killing all these little boys. You know, so that to me is the monster underneath the beauty type thing. And that's why I love the original miniseries of It so much, because the acting's great. It's perfect. Perfect.
It's so good.
Yeah. So, Haley, back to Child's Play. Which scene affected you the most and why?
I kind of have to, two things. One, the scene that we happened to walk into when we walked into the room, which was the man getting the back of his ankle when Chucky stabbed him. Because that was my first time ever, like, catching a glimpse of it. And then also, which I don't know if it just shows my dark and twisted side, but like also the part where the babysitter gets killed. I think that's the best, most entertaining part of the movie. I think that was a genius scene. And so that part I really loved. I was like, that genuinely freaked me out. And normally a little doll running around like that wouldn't freak me out, because just like kick that shit away, but no, that freaked me out. Like,
and back to that, up until that point, you really don't know if it's Andy or the doll.
Right. Yeah.
They're kind of making you think that Andy might just be this crazy kid. If you haven't watched any trailers or you haven't seen the VHS cover, you think that Andy might just be a crazy little fuck. But then you see that scene where he hits her with the good guy hammer, and then she goes back and falls out the window. You're right. Like, you're watching it like, oh shit. That's incredible. No! Right. So I got a couple more questions now. These ones are for both of you. Let's go Sydney first. Have you seen the Child's Play remake, and what are your opinions on that?
I have not seen the remake. Okay. And I think it's because even though, people can have an opinion on the first one all they want, say it's stupid, whatever, and, whatever. but that one just kind of stuck with me, that I don't really want to see the remake. I just, like, I know it's weird. Even though the first one gave me nightmares, it still holds like a special place with me, that I really don't want to bother watching a remake.
Okay, that's fair. How about you, Haley?
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
Is the remake the one where it's in the mental hospital?
No, the remake is the one you're thinking of, Cult of Chucky. The remake
Okay.
is the one where it's the new Dow, and he's AI. He's not Charles Lee Ray. He's artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I've seen it, and I wasn't really a fan of that. I thought the doll was like just too creepy. Like, not like scary creepy, just like ugly creepy. And no, I definitely prefer the original.
See, now here's where I'm a little different than you guys.
Okay.
I do prefer the original, but I'm a very big fan of the remake. And the reason why I'm such a big fan of the remake is, in the remake, the Chucky doll isn't bad per se. I mean, he's evil and he kills people, but he thinks he's doing it to help Andy. He thinks that he can do it to help Andy. And it really is very, very powerful. The acting's great. The kills are brutal. I love the kills in the remake. I think it's my favorite remake of any horror movie besides Evil Dead. The Evil Dead 2013, I think, is about the most perfect horror movie.
Good.
That movie,
But
it was so hard to watch. It's just so, like, it's too much. It was a lot. Like, the arm scene where, ew, just thinking about it. But it was great.
and it was all practical, is what I like about it. There was not a lot.
Yeah.
It was all practical effects,
Yeah.
which was so much fun. So now I got 2 more questions for you. Now I'm going to go Scream on you here. We talked about your first horror movie, but I want to know, what's your favorite scary movie? So, Haley, your favorite horror movie is?
Oh, God, this is hard. I have a lot. Okay, if I had to say in a nutshell, I would probably say, it's a tie between 2. Okay, the first Scream. The first Scream.
I knew it.
Okay. I love it. No, I
But
love that choice.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But the one with
The
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel version.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a specific name for that one other than Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but not the original, even though it's great. But the one with Jessica Biel is fantastic. The remake.
The remake is better than the original, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to that.
Because that's my dream role. Like, I want to be the final girl. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? And it's funny because you were talking about Scream, and here's something I catch a lot of shit for. If the third act of Scream 2, from the point where they're in the car and they climb over him without taking his mask on or killing him, from that point on, if that would have been different, I think Scream 2 is far superior to Scream 1.
Really?
I just think that the ending is too slapsticky. Like, one, you should have taken his mask off when you climbed over him. And 2, when they're fighting in the theater and she's like dumping fake rocks on Billy's mom, it's like, oh, come on. It's almost Three Stooge level slapstick. But before that, I think Scream 2, the kills are better.
It's so good.
It's so good. But
The movie theater scene in the beginning is terrifying. It's so, and then like when she's in front of the screen and everyone thinks that it's a part of the movie and they're just watching her get gutted. Like, it's so
like
genius.
it was all an act or something.
So good.
Yeah.
It's
No,
amazing.
the first one will always hold a special place in my heart. I think I've watched it like 100 times. I was obsessed with that. And Sid can vouch for me. Like,
that's her favorite. I would say that's her favorite for sure.
Does this make me weird? It was like comforting. I'd watch it and like it would put me to sleep. Like, it was like I don't know. It just made me very happy.
Sick and
It was your
twisted.
security
That's
blanket.
your problem.
Same with like the Halloween theme song. As soon as it plays, like I just listen to it just like a regular song. Like,
I'll show you. To be honest with you, Scream influenced that tattoo.
So cool.
Oh, that's great.
Like,
Oh
that
my
was
god.
I love that painting, but I think I love that painting because of Scream. Because you know, that's what that Scream mask was modeled around, was the Shriek, the painting. So that's one thing that, to me, that totally influenced me putting a piece of art on my arm that will be there for the rest of my life. That's the impact that Scream had on me. Like I said, when I went and watched that, it rejuvenated my love of horror. Because, like I said, the year before, like, there was nothing coming out. And then you hear Wes Craven wrote this new thing, and it's hip, and it's meta, and, you know, it's funny, it's sad, it's got a twist to it that you don't expect. Like, there's so many great things about this movie that is the perfect slasher film. Like, it's literally the perfect slasher.
It
So
is.
good.
And I just have so much respect and love for Sydney. That character she's an incredible character. Like,
She's a
That's
fighter.
Final Girl.
yes, because she was strong, and even after finding out like it was her boyfriend, like the whole time, and everything that happened to her, she fought. I mean, man, she fought for her life, and she wasn't stupid. There's nothing worse than watching a horror movie and seeing like the dumb girl whose her tits are flopping everywhere, and she's like tripping over herself and like crawling away, even though there's nothing wrong with her leg and she can get back up and run.
Yeah.
You know, I love watching a strong female kick ass in a horror movie. Nothing better.
So
So
do
that's
I.
why I love it.
Well, she makes fun of that girl in the movie.
She
She's
does.
the stupid girl that
Yeah.
runs up the stairs when the
Even though
door's
she
right
does end
there.
up running upstairs.
I do want to chime in, though. There's nothing wrong with the girl whose boobs bounce everywhere.
I mean, it adds entertainment. That's a staple.
I think
Every
it's
movie's
the
got to
only-
have one.
The only thing about Scream, I think, that really, really does kind of hold it back a tiny bit is the garage door scene. That's the only scene for me that when she tries to get out the garage door and her boobs stop her, then the strongest garage door in the history of the planet picks her up. Like, that's the only, but it's still a great scene. It's one of the
It's
coolest
a
kills
great
in the
scene.
movie.
It is a little far fetched. They went
Yes.
a little. They reached a little bit too far during
Yes.
that part. Yeah.
So, Sydney, I asked Haley, so now I gotta ask you, what's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, this is easy. Halloween, the original Halloween. Super
Fair
easy.
enough.
I didn't even have to think about it. It's my favorite movie of all time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now I always end these with the same thing, the skull count. We're ranking Child's Play on a scale of 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. Haley, what's your ranking of Child's Play?
I would give it a 3.
That's fair. Absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Sydney?
I would give it a 4.
Oh, she's topping you, girl. I'm just kidding. No,
Not
that's
competing.
like I said, I am a huge fan of Child's Play, Chucky. I think, like I said, if it weren't for Seed of Chucky, it would be my favorite horror franchise. But I got to count every single film that's in the
Right.
franchise, and
Mhm.
I think that Child's Play, it's scary, it's funny, it's got everything. I can't think of a scene in any horror movie that scared me as much as in the original Child's Play when he has the voodoo doll to the voodoo doctor and he's breaking the arm and his arm breaks. You know, like that to
That's
me,
a
like
good
as a
part.
kid, terrified me because I'm also a big fan of anthology movies, and Tales from the Hood is one of my favorite anthology movies. And you have the puppet
Mhm.
one in that where they got all the little puppets, and that's always scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we got your guys' ranking. I appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll talk to you guys soon.